Hello everybody, my name is TaurusLehane, and today we are playing the Skull Merchant on Dead by Daylight. I took a little bit of a break from doing some YouTube videos just because of the fact that I was doing Hardcore Killer on Twitch. And if you're unfamiliar with Hardcore Killer, basically what you do is, since rank reset is the 13th of every single month, from the 13th of January to the 13th of February, the goal was to get to Iridescent 1 as killer using the same perks on every single killer without add-ons or offerings. And if you don't get a 3K or higher every game, then that killer dies, so that you move to the next killer. Anyway, I completed Hardcore Killer yesterday, which was the 22nd. So it took me from the 13th of January to the 22nd of January to complete it. And I did, I finished it. I finished it on the good gal, or the good guy, or Chucky, whatever you want to call him. That's what I finished with. And I just went in order. So it started with the Trapper and ended with the good guy. It was a lot of fun. I did do it last year as well. And it was just as scary. It was just as difficult. Looks like we got some birds here from Soma. Usually if there is only... Usually if somebody's AFK, I just leave them alone until they get 3 birds, and then I don't. I might hit them, but I wouldn't hook them. But he gave me a freebie, so I'm grateful for that. I think actually the killer that I did the best with during my Hardcore Killer was the Blight, which is really weird because I would never say that I'm good with Blight. So obviously the skill-based matchmaking helped a great deal, which was amazing. But I think I did like 8 or 9 games with the Blight, which was absolutely insane. So 8 games in a row, 8 or 9 games in a row, I got a 3K or more with the Blight, which again is just insane because I am not a Blight fan. And I was very, very surprised by that. I didn't camp, tunnel, or slug. Well, okay. I did tunnel a couple times, and I slugged once because the survivors were doing that thing from the very beginning where, like, they basically act like everybody's on death hook immediately, and they had, excuse me, they had, like a really big meme build, like boil over, flip-flop, saboteur, I forget what else right now, but just like really obnoxious, annoying stuff, unbreakable, you know, all those things. And then, like I said, on top of that, they were taking hits for each other from the very beginning and everything else, so they're just being really, really obnoxious. And I don't like camping, slugging, or tunneling, but when you're doing obnoxious things like that and then expect the killer not to do that, I think that's really ignorant and naive, and it's really foolish of survivor mains to complain about that. Now, just to be clear, in case you're seeing me for the very first time, I do play killer and I do play survivor. I usually stream about 7 hours right now, usually a little more, never a little less, unless there's some kind of like, unless my power or internet's gone out or something like that. But of those 7 hours, I usually play survivor for about 3. So, you know, obviously that's not even, but it's still a lot more than most survivor mains play killer, or most killer mains play survivor, you know. And I would still say I'm a killer main, but I feel like it's good to get both sides of the story, if you know what I mean. No, we're not gonna, okay, I'll get rid of this, but I'm not gonna play the shack when there's multiple survivors still alive. It's just obnoxious, regardless if there's a pallet or not. So happy she threw this immediately. Okay, she's gonna go over here. I'm assuming she's gonna want to make her way to the shack as well at some point. Oh, maybe not. Nope, she's going back to the main building. Fantastic. Okay. No pallet here for you. Oh, there is a pallet. It's just around the corner, not in the center like it is a lot of the time. I know it spawns there too. I just didn't see it. I didn't notice it. Okay. Yes. I was hoping she would come down from up here and down that window or whatever. I was 100% expecting sprint burst there. Why are you behind me like that? I would think you'd want to stay like away from me. That's a tree. Thank you. Oh, that's why they wanted my attention. Okay, my bad. I still think that decisive strike, after you've hooked another survivor, I think that decisive strike should deactivate. I really feel that way. Because then I'm not tunneling. Like, behavior made it so that it's tunneling if I hook them again within 60 seconds, but basically you're just punishing the killer for being optimal, optimal good player, and I think that's nonsense. And you're rewarding the survivor for not being very good, and I just don't agree with that. I mean, I guess if they have like I guess if they have like 4,000 hours or less, then okay, fine, give it a 60-second life regardless, I guess, you know. I know that's not gonna ever be a thing because that's too complicated for them to code, I'm assuming, but I just think it's ridiculous. If I hook you and you have decisive strike and you get off the hook and it's activated, but then I hook somebody else before that 60 seconds is up, I don't understand why it shouldn't be deactivated. That makes total sense to me because I'm not tunneling you then. If you don't get a hook back to back, that's not tunneling. I don't care what anybody says. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that the developers have allowed survivors to think that it's tunneling still after 60. Like, I just don't think that's crazy. If it takes a killer 60 seconds to hook a survivor, they're not playing to the best of their ability, you know, or the best that they could be playing. And everybody starts somewhere, so not everybody's gonna be that way, but I'm just saying that's why, like, after 4,000 hours of a survivor, if they have decisive strike, I think it should work differently. But you know what, again, the developers are not going to do something like that. That's way too complicated, and if they started it with decisive strike, where does it end? You know, everybody's going to be like, oh, all the perks should be different for people depending on their playtime, and you know, it's just, it's a downward spiral basically. I personally, as a killer main, I've never had a big problem with like decisive strike. I'm just saying it seems like a lot of people really do have a problem with it still. And a lot of survivors, I think, really depend on it too. You know, and I just want things to change. That's all, I guess. Which is crazy for me as a Taurus, because usually we don't like change. But, you know, if we don't keep things different or change them a little bit, then, you know, everything just stays kind of boring. She's playing like a bot. It's so weird. I think. I don't know. She's like crouching at weird moments. For the record, I don't know how many hours this Lori has, and honestly, I don't really care. So it's not really about her. It's not really a discussion about her. It's just a discussion about Decisive Strike in general and how I feel about it. Because honestly, I don't really see Decisive Strike that often. But on a Lori, of course, it's no surprise. You hesitated too much, girl. Oh, nice. I thought she was gonna go underneath, and I almost played it that way too. Okay. GG's. Okay, let's see if we can get the Soma. Beautiful. I don't have barbecue, so I'm not gonna know where Megan is after this. But you know, that's okay. I don't think they're death hooked, so well, they are death hooked. Okay, cool. Well, that was pretty rough, to say the least. Let's see if she gets out. I think she will. Oh, never mind. She decided to be a little sassy. Her ego killed her more than I am about to. GG. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for me in this video. Thank you so much for watching. You can catch me live on Twitch Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, starting at 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern, and 9 a.m. Pacific. You can also find me on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter X. I hope you have a wonderful day, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.